Hey guys, this is Demagogue coming at you from the Bastion server yet again, and going to give you just a quick things to know about tanking. These are very basic tips and ideas to keep in mind. I'm currently on CZ198, going to show you just a couple quick things. Currently I'm doing this right after my DPS rotation on my Marauder video, so my taskbars are mixed up, and I'm currently working on resetting all of them a certain way on all of my characters, so please pardon the mess. Basically, I want you to look at the top row and the bottom row right here. Those will be the ones to keep in mind this time. Alright, so first thing to know for tanking, know your defensive cooldowns. For Juggernaut it has the most, so it's the reason I picked this character to do it on. I have 3 different tanks I could show you, but this is the first one. Got Saber Ward, Invincible, Endure Pain, Enrage Defense, and Saber Reflect. The idea is you're going to want to try to set up a rotation, kind of like a DPS rotation, of the order you want to use these, and use them only periodically as needed. You don't want to use them all at once. You're not going to take damage for like 20 seconds, or you're going to take little damage for 20 seconds, but then you're going to be sitting there waiting for about a minute, minute and a half before any of these come back up, and you're going to be screwed basically. So you want to kind of set up a rotation, use one, fight a little bit. You're going to want to have a basic DPS rotation set up, which I currently do not have a good one, but then use another one of your defensive cooldowns. That way you resist a lot of damage. There's a good way to do it. I'm still working on this. I'm new at this tanking thing, but I do want to show you just a couple things I have learned. So that's defensive cooldowns. A couple things to show you on other abilities. There are a few abilities on every single class that if you read your abilities, and you're going to have to read your abilities to be a good player. This one is the one on Juggernaut that I'm aware of, and there may be another one called Backhand. If you read it, the last sentence says, this ability generates a high amount of threat. You're going to want to use that on a target you cannot taunt, and taunts are what I'm going to show you next. But a target that you cannot taunt, or you're about to lose the threat to someone in your group to, you want to hit them with that backhand to immediately shoot up a lot of threat and keep them on you. Or in a raid, you're starting a big boss fight, you may want to jump in, attack, hit the backhand, hit a single boss taunt. That way you get a lot of threat in a hurry. You're not going to lose the boss right away, especially when doing a pug raid and you get all these people that as soon as the fight starts, all these DPS just want to jump in and Rambo the thing and try to kill everybody basically. Alright, so defensive cooldowns, find your abilities that have a high generation of threat. You want to keep those in your rotation for specific purposes. Also a good one to know on Juggernaut, especially your Saber Throw. Keep that in mind. Good ranged attack. It's a great way to pull a boss or start a fight without using your taunt to start a fight. So every tanking class will have 2 taunts. They will have a single target taunt called, ironically, taunt. Then there will be another one that will vary by name called, on Juggernaut, Threatening Scream. It is every target within 15 meters are forced to attack you for 6 seconds. And there's a bunch more stuff on there. You're gonna have to read your abilities to understand what your class does. I laughed at a guy that told me that, but he's right. You gotta read your abilities to fully understand what's going on. So, basic idea for the tank, you're a large punching bag. Large punching bag. You're going to jump in, generate threat on whatever target you've got. 95% of the time, you're going to turn the target away from the raid. You do not want them to be facing your group, your raid, your friends, anything like that, because the front of the boss is where they're swinging lightsabers, shooting guns, etc. You're going to want them facing away from the raid. Very few bosses you want facing towards the raid. Most of the time, it's in relation to a knockback ability where they're going to periodically knock back whole groups of people, and you want to be able to stack everybody against an object like a pillar or a pylon or something that's going to resist the knockback ability. So that's the only time you would do that. Alright, so I just had a pub drop in, and I'm thinking about trying these tanking things out on him to show you guys. Awesome PvP server, right? He's gonna hate me in a minute. He's only a level 54, let's find him. Okay, single target taunt. And go in for the kill. Defensive cooldowns periodically to resist damage. Backhand to generate a lot of threat. Taunt again for whatever target you're fighting. Target's dead. You're good to go. You're clear. And that guy probably hates me right now, but that was fun. I've never actually ran into a target on CZ to kill, so that was worth it. So that gives you an idea. You jump in, you taunt to keep threat on you, that way he cannot kill your friends. In my case it was Treek, which is not fully geared up and is my healer. Somebody kills him, I'm kind of screwed. But you taunt, periodically use your defensive cooldowns. A lot of times if you see the target specifically about to channel a large ability that's going to generate a lot of damage to you, you taunt to keep it off the raid and then pop one of your defensive cooldowns to keep you alive and keep you going. I used my defensive cooldowns a bit freely because I knew I was going to kill that guy really quickly. Kind of sad for him, but he's under level, PvP server. I'm here, I needed something to kill. You guys can hate me if you want to. So that's the way that goes. Different bosses need to be tanked different ways. You're going to have to either ask someone for each individual raid, and I'm going to try to get periodically videos of me tanking each raid of the 55 ops. The level 50 ops, you can be a DPS at level 60 after 3.0 and run in and tank the thing. I've done it on my Marauder I don't know how many times, and just stand there and you resist all the damage basically. So the level 55 ops, there's still some mechanics. I have tanked several different story mode, and I'm planning on tanking some hard modes too. I have followed hard mode mechanics even on story mode, and it's not that bad. It's pretty straightforward if you follow the mechanics. But basically you got to tank each boss the way they're meant to be done by the mechanics. Some bosses are meant to be faced certain ways, some bosses are meant to be stood in a certain place. Some bosses need to be moved from place to place, so it varies. You're going to have to read up on your fights a little bit to understand the tanking, but your basic abilities you need to keep in mind: your taunts, threat generation, defensive cooldowns. Another one, or one more ability to really keep in mind that's key for a tank, is your guard. Every class has got one. Ironically, it's called guard. It's rocket science, I'm telling you. So hard, but your guard reduces damage to a friendly target. You receive part of that damage that they're taking instead. You're the tank, you're the giant punching bag. You're meant to be taking the damage, not your friends. You're going to want to throw that guard on one of two people. You're either going to want to put it on your hardest hitting DPS, because they're going to be generating threat that could potentially take it off you as the tank. Or your second option is your highest quality healer. Your highest quality healer heals generate more threats than DPS output. When someone is generating a lot of heals towards the raid, they're more likely to pull threat off of you, the tank, than a DPS is. So one of those two, your hardest hitting DPS or your highest quality healer, deserve your guard. A low level or low health person that is prone to dying but is not critically needed for a raid does not need your guard. It sounds mean, but who cares if they die? If you don't need them, don't worry about them. Sounds kind of cruel, but your hard-hitting DPS and your best healers, they're important to your raid. You want to keep them alive. You want to keep them with you. That's something you need to keep in mind. Also, your intercede. On a Juggernaut, it jumps to a friendly target. It's good to close up a gap. It reduces the damage taken by that person and reduces the threat by 20%, or reduces the threat by a slight amount, reduces damage taken by 20% for 6 seconds. So it's a mini guard for that person. Now, that's not a huge deal. I don't use it that often because when you're tanking a boss, typically you're standing in one place. You're not moving around, need to jump to another person. There are a few instances where that is useful, but it is not very often. I have it marked on my toolbar just for those few instances, but it's not something you need to have all the time. So that's some basics of tanking. Look for my videos coming soon of me tanking the fights, and hopefully I will have me tanking the fights. I will have my mic on, and we'll be walking you through what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, while I'm doing it. That way you understand what's going on in tanking different raids, and each raid is set up differently, but some of the basics you can draw upon other raids to learn your style of tanking. My style of tanking is different than somebody else's style of tanking. You're going to have to develop a little bit of your own style and a little bit of the core mechanics to be a good tank. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope this helped just a little bit on the basics of tanking.